What makes an artist? Creativity, passion or skill? In 2010, Yorkshire was the third most funded region for arts in the country. I'll be speaking to two artists with very different backgrounds. Student sculptor Nick Kidd and semi-professional mixed media artist Claire Dean. They'll be joining me for a one-night-only art showcase at Barley Hall in York, North Yorkshire, for an exhibition of our work and the work of other local artists. My interest in art, I think that comes from my mother. I think she encouraged me to be creative and to be artistic. She always said that she wanted one of her children to be an artist. And I think when I was younger, I used art as a way of expressing myself. For some reason, I had the passion for it. I've never really tried to break into the art industry on my own because I'm not sure how far I would be able to get. You know, I haven't been to university to study art, I haven't been to college. I'm frightened that my art wouldn't be accepted into the sort of art community or respected. In 2011, Leeds had the most Arts Council funded organisations of a single local authority in the whole of Yorkshire. I'll be meeting with second year Leeds College of Art Fine Arts student Nick Kidd to find out what it's like to be a young, up-and-coming artist in a city like Leeds.
As long as I can remember, I've just sort of always been interested in art. Ever since I was younger, I've always been doodling or drawing.
So how would you define your style?
Probably quite fun and playful. I don't like to take it too seriously.
So what are you working on now?
I'm working on a few sculpture installation sort of thing at the moment. The whole idea of sea life, something that I've always been fascinated in. So it's something I enjoy as well. It's less of a chore if it's something you enjoy. So I'm just sort of working on drawing ideas from that.
So what motivates you? What drives you?
I think just my passion for art, really. It's just what I want to do, and it's what I always have wanted to do.
Do you think being in a city like Leeds gives you an advantage?
Yeah, it's a good art scene in Leeds. There's a few independent sort of galleries which are quite interesting to go to. There's always something going on, so it is good.
Why did you choose to study art?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really good at anything else. If I was to be successful, I'm not too fussed about having money. Just be happy with the art that I'm producing for people to see. And it is always really nice when you hear that people like your work, and it does sort of make you think, oh, it is worth it.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
People on my course, it's a really good environment to be in. You bounce off others' ideas and you respond from their work as well. I think that's when you get really inspired, is being in a studio.
Creative
environments, yeah. And you see them working really hard, I need to pull my finger out and get going with it.
Do you feel that you produce your best work?
No.
Or are you always chasing?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Always. This is what I'm working on at the moment. Hopefully, the dream is to have hundreds of them and fill a big space.
I remember the first drawing I ever did, which anybody liked, and that was really weird. Strange faces and things like that. And I think my grandma, she said, oh, that's really good, that, and and they made a big fuss of it, and maybe that encouragement made me carry on. I'm going to Wetherby to meet semi-professional artist Claire Dean to find out how she established herself on the Yorkshire art scene.
I've always been interested in art. I love making things, but left school at 16. Thought it'd be nice to go to art school, but I never did, and then didn't pick up a paintbrush for 20, 30 years and started painting about 12 years ago.
So I hear you're part of an art group.
I am, yeah. Locally.
Tell me a bit about your art group.
We meet on a Tuesday night and everybody brings their own art to do. I might take a piece like this along, but somebody next door will be doing something totally different, and you comment on their work and they comment on yours.
You put your paintings onto handmade paper. How did that come about?
I saw it at a craft show. I saw somebody making paper and I thought, how could I incorporate this into my work? And I put in seeds and natural stuff into the paper, and when you paint on top of that, paint just does more textural type of thing. So when you're rather than looking at a flat painting, you've got more texture and interest in it. You take a decal, when you what they call riddle it, you put it into the pulp and riddle it about and lift it up. And when you lift it up, it holds all the pulp and the water drains out. You're supposed to have a mound so you can sort of rock it backwards and forwards. And the water all squeezes out. And lo and behold, you have one piece of paper. And my husband has now started cutting all my mounts and doing all my framing. So we just buy the lengths of the moulding and he makes them up for me. That means if I'm doing a local show, if people have bought a frame, I can then sort of try and promote his business as well.
Do you think it's important for an artist to have formal education in art?
I'm just self-taught, enjoy what I do, and that's great, but I do wonder how the establishment see people like that.
Would you ever consider making art your full-time occupation?
If it made enough money, yes, I'd love to. Our aim ultimately is to have a framing shop come gallery, ideally, and I'd like to do courses.
Any advice for artists or people trying to break into the industry?
Just persevere, don't let people put you off. You can get some very negative people, but just, go with what you feel is right and what you enjoy, really.
I always wanted to paint in oils. I decided to start on this epic painting, but it's not finished yet. With oil paints, it's quite a long process. You've got to clean your brushes, and I'm constantly running out of terps. The paints, if you're using oils, you use a lot more than you think, and they run out really quickly. Between 2009 and 2010, the Arts Council in England put approximately £31.5 million into funding the arts in Yorkshire alone. One organisation to benefit from such funding is Barlane Studios of York, whose founder Ben Coates is proud to provide a space where local artists can create, display and sell their work as part of a creative community.
Flanagan Studios we set up 3 years ago. It's a social enterprise business, so it's not for profit. I came back to York 7 years ago, having left when I was 18. I couldn't believe when students were graduating there was really nowhere for them to go, and it was quite interesting they were leaving York. So after a lot of debating what I should do, gave it work and set this space up. When we first started, we were bringing in some very big names, prints by Matisse signed, we had Salvador Dali's, we were really kind of going for the big top end, and we were selling lots of them. Obviously, credit crunch hit. It's affected the art world and the creative industries as much as anybody else. So we changed with that, we developed. We moved and started working with local artists from across the region, and we started to consider what people will actually spend their money on, because that's part of what we're here to do, is to promote artists but also to try and sell the work, and it's worked very, very well. The other thing we provide is different types of studio space, so people can come along, they can hire a space. It's just some monthly, so each month, at the end of the month, they make a decision of whether they want to stay or not. And I think this is again that having a facility here that people can use. I'm just talking about in here. I have new graduates. I have people who have been sort of working from home for the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, but actually are sick of doing something on the kitchen table, because then the kids come in and ruin it all. So they just need somewhere they know they can come, do it, drop it and leave it. It's about actually seeing what somebody else is doing, getting feedback on their own work and actually bouncing ideas off each other. So this is really about that. It's that communal studio space. All the individuals that come to us, they work creatively in some kind of way. We can have people like Chalky the Yorkie who will come to Barlane and volunteer for us, and he might do a small installation, he might bring a record player with him, he might just nip to the shops and get some milk. It can be anything.
Ben Coates, who's become, over the last couple of years, a good friend of mine, said, can you do this for us? Turn a sprayed piece of board into an art table where people could have the drinks and enjoy a little bit of space where Cafe Society meets Art Society.
This space is pop-up shop. Different individuals or companies or artists or groups of artists come in and use the space in any way that they want. But we've really been emphasising the word shop, so that then there's a definite line between what is exhibition space, what is almost considered fine art, and what is retail. There's a big change at the moment, and I think that's coming from students. I think that's where it's coming from. They're more prepared to get involved, and I think the more involved they get in York, in the city, actually within the culture itself and what's going on, then that's how it will grow.
For me, I find it quite unique. I've not stumbled across anything else like this. This just seemed like the obvious, fresh, young place to be. It's been really useful. Doing this group exhibition was a bit difficult because I didn't know who'd be exhibiting, so I was making work blind, because you always want to consider who else is going to be exhibiting and how your work's going to work together. But it's been really nice to discover that there are other people like me, like this lady over here. She does similar found things, and it was just encouraging to meet her, see someone else doing the same kind of thing, and also that she likes my work and I like her work. So that would never have happened unless I'd chosen to exhibit here.
But I think this is a good start. I don't think this is the one and only thing that will help York. It won't grow from people with not much hair and grey beards telling the younger people what to do. It has to come from them. Now, if we can provide facilities where they can actually start to grow, then that's when it gets exciting.
I've seen a few reactions, and what I've seen and what I've heard is that generally everyone's really impressed with the level and standard of the work, so that's really encouraging.
Do you like the fact that plenty of people are getting to see what you've done?
It's cool to hear what people have to say, like their advice and stuff.
Have you had a generally positive reception to your work?
I'd say so. It's quite funny, you hear a lot of people sort of say like, is it art or is it like, so it's quite funny to hear that.
Feeling about tonight overall?
It's enjoyable, it's good. Meeting other people and seeing what other people do.
Do you think your artwork's been quite well received tonight?
I think so, yeah.
After talking to Nick, Claire, Ben and others, it seems that a genuine love for the work that they do and being surrounded by other artistic people made them the passionate, creative artists they are now.